Good afternoon. I'll call to order the meeting of the Selkirk Fire Service Joint Powers Board. And board members that we have present today are Kate McAllister from City of Sandpoint, Jim Woodward representing Sago Fire District, and Cindy Marks representing Westside Fire District. With that, we'll proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Gavin, do you want to lead us today?
Absolutely. That's fine. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on our agenda is board and staff announcements. Do board representatives have any announcements or updates? Staff?
We had one of our captains has decided to move on to greener pastures. He is resigning his position. So that kind of creates its own little vortex of hiring and promotion, promotional testing, stuff like that. So after speaking with HR the other day and also with the union rep, everybody's on the same page, understanding. So we're going to start moving forward with that process. Other than that, that's the only really announcement I had. That's I'm sorry, and our wildland firefighters just left again this morning. So they'll be gone for another 14 days. They're going to California this time. Mm-hmm. So they should be back just second week of October 14. It's a 2-day travel time for them this time. So they're going to be in and out and about. And then when we get to that point, we'll have to talk about if they're going to extend, if we're going to allow them to extend, or if we're, just going to say that's it and then bring them home. So as soon as I get more information on that, I'll let you guys know.
Great. Tammy sent out the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve minutes?
So moved.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to old business. Under 5A, the memorandum of understanding to affiliate with Bonner County EMS. Want to give us an update,
Yeah.
Chief?
So after going back through the what we had decided to do right before I got here, there were supposed to be certain things in place. The MOU was supposed to be in place, how they would affiliate us with training, that kind of thing. None of that had really been taken care of, and it's kind of a blessing in disguise, because with the licensure portion of it, pardon me, the part that we want to evaluate, the license has absolutely nothing to do with our evaluation. And the part that kind of set me back was, if we downgrade our license and we decide that's not the road we want to go down in 2 or 3 months, how do we get back? And the short answer is it's going to be a lot of hoops, and it's kind of like almost like rights. When we give it up, we may not get it back, or it may just take forever to do. So that being said, we're still have down and dialed back our response packages for the BLS and ILS. We're still responding to ALS. The caveat to that is if they call us for any of the other ones, we will go, because we don't know if it's because their ambulances they may be tied up, or they have extended ETAs to get to the patient. The part about the medicines and the expirations on the unit, that's just the price of doing business. The amount I was able to get a hold of the Sago budget and looked. So last year Sago, they budgeted $2,000 in the budget for EMS supplies. They ended up spending $2,600. So also realizing that last year was the big COVID year. So who knows how much of that was allocated because of COVID or whatever, but $600 is not breaking our bank. Everything that's in that bag, if it's in a package, it has an expiration date. That's from AED pads to medicines to some of the other interventions like non-rebreathers, things like that. If it's in a bag, it has a potential to expire. Sterile waters, things like that.
Even gloves.
it gloves it
Yeah.
over an extended period of
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
yeah.
they break down just due to temperature and how they're stored. So after looking at what we did last year and the budget this year, they increased it by in the Sago side, and I just use Sago as an example because that's the one I had in front of me. Sago had already budgeted $2,500 this year, so they increased it by $500, and that budget had already passed. So we were already in a position and hedged ourselves to kind of go ahead and continue on as normal. We weren't going to incur anything unusual that I could see. I just think it had to do with our license, and I think that to me that had nothing to do with what we were going to do. So we needed to push forward. Found out that after I got here and was here for a week or two, found out that our license actually was to be renewed by the end of September. And they had to have that in 30 days ahead of time. And we were already a week and a half behind that deadline. So, and the JPA had basically just met. So, the JPA board. So what I did is talk with Jennifer, kind of explained to her my position, and then met with Sago and met with the West Side districts. And then just bringing it up again today, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. We're going to continue doing what we're doing. Our evaluation is based solely on the amount of times that we're being tied up or utilized on the low acuity calls that we really don't need to be on. But again, I think it's we're probably going to see what I think we're already know we're going to see. It's going to kind of be in the city proper, but as we get out into the Sago and the West Side portions of it, we're going to probably end up going back to business as normal, and it's probably not going to take a year for us to figure that out. The only other thing I have for that side of it is getting with the dispatch center to see how they're coding our calls, and if they're leaving them in queue waiting instead of notifying us, because the message was sent to dispatch basically to tell us to stop, but we hadn't gotten any of our documentation in place to stop that yet. So I told them just to kind of hold on, don't do anything, whatever you got going on now, just keep doing it, but we'll get together and we'll work on that. So I'm hoping by the time we meet again, I'll have an update on the dispatch center. I'm supposed to be meeting with them, I'm hoping next week. So just kind of, if our schedules line up. So
currently they're still dispatching fire to
ALS only.
Okay.
ALS only.
Okay.
They will, on occasion, they'll dispatch us to a BLS or an ILS, but I'm not sure what their protocol is for that. And I think it has to do with their medic units being tied up. But we've pretty much kind of dialed that back. So we're not getting those like we used to get. But my thing is if they call us, we need to go. And if they want to cancel us, let them cancel us at this point, because I don't want to hear on the radio, which I heard one time right before that Monday that I got sworn in, was such and whatever engine, I need you to respond to this. And they picked up the microphone and said, we don't respond to those calls anymore. Click. I'm like, no, that's absolutely not it's not what we do. The crews all know it. So we're all on the same page. So it was just a matter of somebody's knee-jerk reaction to getting news I think that they didn't want to hear. And the news that they got is it's a hard pill to swallow when you work that hard to get kind of where you go. But I think we're all on the same track, and I think we're ready to move forward in the process. So hopefully after meeting with the dispatch center, we'll have a little bit better view on how they're doing their end of it, so that we can get the rest of our information to base our decisions on. That's what we're looking for.
Any other questions, discussion on the MOU and status with the EMS?
So how long will it be before you'll be able to put something together?
We tentatively, when we spoke about it, when we were all here, we were looking at a year. Before we made a final decision, that was just an arbitrary number that we put on it to give it a timeline, because it kind of sounded like it was going to be more of a permanent, well, we're done, we're not going to do it ever again. That's a long time. If we're never going to do it again, that's maybe longer than we were willing to go. So when we had talked previously, it was, well, we need to put a time frame on it for evaluation. So we gave it a year. we may be in a position within the next couple months to say this is or isn't going to work out, and then we kind of go back to what we were doing. I don't know how far the dispatch center has gone down that road. That's why I wanted to wait and talk with them before we made any other moves. The MOU was never, I can say it was never authored. There was an attempt, and it was an MOU of something like that. It needs to be a lot longer than one paragraph. That didn't have anything to do with anything. And our affiliation, as far as keeping our folks trained, that was not going down a road that was giving me the warm, happy feelings. So I think we're better off kind of staying self-sufficient on that side of it, and then we just tailor our responses to best support that. So
the licensure is the licensure for 1 year.
it is, yes, it's for every year. We maintain 3, so one for Sagal, one for Sandpoint, and one for Westside. So the West Side one wouldn't have been affected at all because it's a BLS, but the other 2 are ILS. So we just went whatever we had currently. That's what we went back with. Engineer Wolf and Captain Hansen they kind of got all that stuff together and spearheaded that up, got all that stuff filed, and I guess our stuff went so well that we submitted it that morning. We had our certificates and licenses back within 2 hours. They sent, here you go, you're good to go. So I'd rather not depend on somebody else to make sure our training is staying where it needs to be. That's not something you want to have to explain to the people that come to do an investigation on you or something like that. So that's the first thing they want to look at is training. And if our training is not right, then it's probably not going to be a good day for us. So.
Okay. New business, chief's report. Any other items to report?
I went out and met with all the crews as a company, and just kind of we didn't get real deep or real granular into anything. We just basically, hey, this is me, this is where I'm from, this is my background, and now I want to hear about your stuff. So I have pretty much met everyone. There's a couple of stragglers that were either out on medical or vacation. I'm kind of catching those. That's where I was just a few minutes ago, was catching up with one. Now I'm starting to get into the individual meetings because a lot of our folks have what I call siders, the little collateral things that they do inside the department. Yes, they're a captain or a firefighter, or an engineer, but they also take care of like breathing air programs and training and medical supplies, janitorial supplies, things like that. So I'm meeting right now. I started that today as well, meeting with the individuals on not only what their view of the fire department is and where they see it going, because when you're in a group setting, sometimes people don't like to talk in front of groups. So they're more better one-on-one. Let them say what they have to say, but then to go in also into the siders that they do and how those programs are going. Where do you see that we can improve maintenance, facilities or fleet maintenance, things like that. So that's what I'm starting to get into now. We're uncovering some stuff. I've visited all the stations. We have a lot of stuff that we really need to, either we need to fix it or get rid. We cut bait with it, something. I don't know where the status is. We've just got stuff, and we started a little bit yesterday helping the police, or they were redoing one of their areas, and they were just fire junk that was in there that had accumulated. Doesn't look like anybody touched it in years, and it was all and not repairable. So we got to get rid of this stuff. Just kind of cleaning up and getting everything ready. We have fire prevention week is next month. We kind of it's like having a birthday. We have a birthday week. Now it's involved in the birthday month. So we're kind of the same way with fire prevention, but we're trying as much as we can to start scheduling stuff to get in the schools and to get our open house back. We're gonna, after talking yesterday, we're gonna kind of wait and see how this COVID stuff is going before we really commit to getting into that, because we're just remaining fluid. We want it scheduled, but if we have to cancel it, then our folks understand, and we hope that they do as well. So other than that, that's kind of where we're standing right now. So,
and have you been welcomed with open arms?
by all but 3. no, I'm just kidding. No, it's been fantastic. Everybody is, the one thing that I have told all of them in my first week and into my second week as I was meeting them, the one thing that stands out to me that I get from seeing the crews work every day, they are very professional. They're very passionate about what they do. And it's not just the way they respond to incidents. It's the way they take care of their daily duties around the stations. It's the way that they interact with the public. It's the way that they're checking their trucks off, things like that, making sure their equipment's good. It's been impressive so far. And I hope, and I told them, I said, I hope that's not just like the honeymoon that I'm seeing, because it truly is. They should be proud of what they do, and all of them really care deeply about what they do. That kind of explains our turnover. We don't really have one. So it's not bad. It's just, sometimes the boat rocks a little bit, but we do our best to steady it and then keep going. So, but to date, everybody has been on board, and they're liking what they're seeing, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. So I like it.
Good. Any other questions, updates? Okay, we're moving along quickly today. Financial report, Sarah.
All right, I pulled this up last time. And the only difference are, let's check first, hold on. All right, so last time I had pulled this up, of the monthly, and this is the JPA administration joint cost. I did it through August of last month. We met on the 25th. There was a few more expenses that went through in August, so I just updated this for those few expenses. And then this has been sent out to the individual agencies. So Sagal and Westside got their billings for this dollar amount here. Typically what we're going to do in the future is like this is the middle of September, so we will not have closed this month yet, obviously. So we will next month when we meet, you'll get with this updated with September for that month. So this is exactly what you saw last month, but just a few additional expenses that have been added to it. And this will come, it does come to the difference with the backup. So if there's any questions, all of it comes with all the more detail than you'd want to see, 10 pages of detail. So if there's any more questions beyond that from the different agencies, they can call, they can ask, that goes to you as well. So that's that part, and nothing has changed on what I showed on the wages. Here's this again pulled up, because this is through August. We paid one more payday through September. Again, that will be in October. On the October meeting, we'll show all the way through the end of the year. Oh, and it did not pull up that one. You have to switch screens. You know how to make this come big again? Never? Have you ever had this where it doesn't? I've always pulled it and it makes it big, but it's not doing that. Oh, there we go. If I do stop share, share, and then
just
reshow.
do- Yeah, you can just do the new share.
Okay, there we go. There's that one there. This is the wages of the Sandpoint Station, Sagal Station, Carrywood Station, and Westside stations. Starting next fiscal year, it'll be a lot cleaner because all those budgets are within the Sandpoint's books versus pulling from, to create this, like pulled from the different agencies' books. And within the Sagal, for example, Salaries has also the wildland fire people. So this to me has some other convoluted things into it that starting next year when I show this will be straight of what was budgeted and actuals from the JPA administration standpoint. When you see it at the other stations, you'll also have other things. And for example, at Sagal, ours doesn't budget for the wildland fire. So when you get those at Sagal, you'll have those intermixed into it. But when I show that next, starting this next fiscal year, next month, we'll have only the JPA administration expenses within it. So that will be getting used to.
I think, well, I kind of think that works out better because we were talking back and forth with some of the stuff that is the purchases that go on, especially as it relates to the Sagal side with the wildland folks. So the ideology moving into next year is we're going to basically, if it's wildland, we're going to try to silo that completely separate. So they have, if there is a credit card that they're going to use for whatever they're doing, they're traveling and whatever, they're going to be the only ones using that credit card. So everything on that is going to be just for that. So if we have to break that out, we don't have to worry about trying to figure out, was this them? And then figure out like where the purchase was made as to where, you know, who made it. There was a little bit of that kind of back and forth in the last month's deal, but I think that's going to help though. That'll help a bunch.
But just knowledge when you are, from this meeting standpoint, these are different than what you will see at the actual individual
Right.
meeting. So just, and then the only other update I have is with two new, Gavin, and then also with Tammy, we're still working through the processes and procedures of who does what. One thing we did come across that Tammy was doing some of the billings for the Sagal side of things. We talked and got that all sorted out, that really needs to go to the accountant because the accountant is what that was hired for, is to do specifically the non JPA things that were agreed upon during the JPA agreement. So just clean up some stuff like that. That's just procedural that maybe was discussed before they were here that they weren't aware of. So not too much other than that. Anything more to add?
I don't think so some of our savings that we have on here, it looks like when we calculate out what September might look like, it looks like in salary and wages that all three of us may have some leftover budget. I'm assuming that's related to leaving a deputy chief position open.
There wasn't a deputy chief position. Oh, okay, so that was on West Side's books this year. So the full amount was. So that's where this gets convoluted because you will see down in your technical services that we paid for an analysis. Part of that was in this fiscal year, so that the salary savings was paid. It's hard, this year is going to be hard to look at because there was some salary savings, but there was also other expenditures that were paid on behalf. And then where we budget things at, for example, Sandpoint, if a true salary and wages is something that we're paying to our employees. And if it's something that we paid, let's say the West Side was employing the prior chief, that to us, if we're paying that bill, is not a salary and wages. That's a service that we're paying. We're paying West Side, that's a service that we're paying. So that does not get booked under our salaries and wages. They were booking it that way over there on those other two agencies. So that's why it's been kind of hard to give you, in my opinion, because the way that they're recording things is not the same way that we are recording things.
Is that resolved somewhat with the new accountant on board then for?
I don't know how the new
Sagal?
accountant records things. I mean, that's, to me, that's all in accounting rules and regulations that's set out by the federal government. So they should be recording things that way. But I don't direct how they record things. So I would hope that they would know that and record them that way.
So one thing we will see moving forward in salary and wages, presumably the deputy chief, we were in the process of posting that position or have posted it, Gavin?
That was posted yesterday afternoon, I think. I don't remember what the deadline was. I think it was 3 weeks or something. Maybe it was 4. I don't remember what we agreed on. I know that she said she was going to post it and sent me a link, but I haven't logged on, so I didn't want to report out on anything until I knew what I saw. So I haven't been on it yet.
All right. Any other questions? Information on financials? All right, we are adjourned then at 2:24 p.m.